Hi, everyone. Let me know if you can see me and hear me as I adjust the camera. We're very close today. For some reason, the camera is very close. I do not know why. Hear you fine. Thank you, Tammy. Hi, everyone. I see you all checking in. I do not know why the camera is so close, but here we are. And if you just bear with me for a second, as it feels a little usually don't have to put it up this high. That's bananas. Okay, well, we'll just go with what we're doing. Oh, Tammy, that's good. We're playing with the same deck today, the Make a Mark. So hi to everyone. Zoe, Kelly, Tammy, Janice, Rosemary. I'm going to see if I can catch you all. Leslie, Janice. I think I saw Gwen. Yes, Gwen, Stephanie, Gail, and I think Rosemary is here as well. So, hey, thank you all for coming. I'm Carla. Hi. Yes, the camera is working, Stephanie. Thank you. Some of you might have lived through my blurry parts as well. Hi, Susan, where the camera was blurry. So I don't know why it's not retracting today, but we're not going to complain. It's working and you guys can hear me. Let's just go with that, okay? Shall we? So I want to try something a little crazy today. Sonia, hi. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I had this idea and I'm like, well, why not just try it live? Because if I'm going to fail or make a fool of myself, let's do it with y'all, my friends. And this is also a great way for you guys to see that not everything can work. Some things work great. Sometimes we figure out things and we're going to just see what happens. So my idea was to combine my new stamps. By the way, thank you all for those that ordered them. If you are still interested in ordering them, they're always available. They're available forever, at least ever-ish. Let's go with that. And the link is below. But I thought I would combine them with my Start with a Mark deck, which is, pull a card and it tells you to make that specific mark. I don't know if this will work. But we're going to find out. And yes, Kelly, there's no failures. Absolutely. Only learning. Very true. Thank you. Thank you for holding me accountable because I'm not the fan of, I don't mind the word failing. I just want to always say what Kelly said, which is that failures are how we learn. When something doesn't work, we figure out how to fix it. When something works, we move on and we don't necessarily push ourselves. So sometimes the learning is in the failing, which is lovely. So we're going to see how that works. Shall we? I don't know. Here we go. So by the way, this delightful thing, I realized I actually have a YouTube video on how I made this jelly printed envelope that I'm now holding my stamps in. I have to make a new one because that's lost the sound. Okay, make sure if there's someone else that has lost the sound, if I'm no longer making noise, let me know, please. You are here. Okay. Susan, it might be you. Sorry. Everyone else is able to hear me, so make sure an earbud or something didn't go out if you're using earbuds. What I was going to say is I made this using my jelly plate, and so I have a video. It is below. I put the video, the link for this video below, just in case earlier today, since I pulled it out. I probably will have to make a new one because I did not make it to store stamps. So you can see that the gusset is really little. So I probably will make another one. I just wanted something to hold them for right now. So let's see how we go. So I have my stamps. I have a ton of stamp pads. I have my blocks. I wanted to also say this because, which is hilarious, that it never occurred to me that some of you might not be familiar with cling stamps, which are the ones, those are the ones that I made. Excuse my dog barking in the background. My husband is up here and the dog barks at the UPS. Hang on, y'all. Okay. Live TV. Yay for live TV. So anyway, it didn't occur to me that some of you might not be familiar with cling stamps and not know how to use them. So I thought that was interesting. And so, because, my friend Kelly, who she's here, she won't mind me pointing out that she was one of the people that asked me how to use it. So you do need the dog next door. Oh no. Oh yeah, Gwen, not your dog, my dog. It is my dog barking. You need an acrylic block. Okay, so that's what the little cling stamps stick to clear. It doesn't have to be clear, y'all, just so that you know that. The reason why a lot of us like it to be clear is then we get to see where we're stamping. So that's helpful. But, I have literally used, not this one, but I took stamps with me somewhere in a kit with just a stamp pad and didn't think about it. And guess what they stick to? Most anything. So I use the stamp pad as the block. It's just that you can't see where you're stamping, but when you use wood block rubber stamps, you can't see that anyway. So just think of it that way. So as long as they stick to, an item that you can hold, then you can use anything. But acrylic blocks are what I have. And I'll just share real quick. I found this one at Dollar Tree. This one came with a little stamp pad. This is probably one of my favorite ones because I love how small it is. So anyway, just so that you know, this came with a stamp pad with some stamps that I bought. These two are something you would find like at your craft stores, Michael's, AC Moore, Hobby Lobby, maybe even in the craft departments of Target or Walmart, if you're looking for that. These are very thick. You can see the difference in sizes. Okay, it doesn't matter. A block is a block is a block. And then I have a piece of acrylic. It's just a piece of acrylic. I got it at the Dollar Tree. It actually is a little bit bigger than this, but I was trying to cut it, and so I used it as a sample. Let's see, make sure you can. No, you can't see that. It doesn't matter. So if you have acrylic, like an acrylic sheet for something, then, maybe you can cut it up into acrylic blocks for yourself. All right. So I just wanted to share that because, sometimes I have been in the craft industry since my, I've been an artist my whole life, but I've been a part of the craft industry. In my early 20s, I was an assistant manager at a craft store. So I have knowledge sometimes that I forget that not everybody has. And so, you don't know until you know. And what is it? You don't know what you don't know. So I kind of sometimes assume everybody knows everything, and that's absolutely terrible. So don't do that. Okay. Yay. Oh, good. Kelly actually found a few blocks at Dollar Tree yesterday. So there you have it. All right. I would love that stamp collector. Yes, Lynn. Yes. Zoe told you, yes, the link is below. Hi, Nancy. The link is below for this. Just remember what I'm saying here. Let me repeat myself. This was not made for the rubber stamps. This was made for paper for my image transfers. So you do have to make sure that when you do make it, the gusset is bigger. Okay. But you can get the general idea of how I made this on that video and then adapt it to what you're going to put in it. All right. I just want to make that very clear. All right. So we got my Start with a Mark deck. This mark deck is available through Etsy, my Etsy store. It is a printable deck that is also below. I tried to remember all the links ahead of time. All right. So let's get started, shall we? I am going to use these are bought decks. Wow. Okay. Bought journals. This is a journal by the artist, in case you're interested, Colleen Atara. You can Google her and find her. Nope, just this. She's an artist in New Jersey, and she makes these blank journals out of her artwork and collage work. So it's delightful. So I found a page that just had some leftover bronze bubble wrap marks. And so that's what I'm going to start on. And so we're going to pull a card. All right. So the first one says thumbprint. Okay. So I actually don't have a stamp that's a thumbprint, but what I do have is a thumb and a stamp pad. So I'm going to just do that. So I'm going to make a mark. So instead of using an actual stamp, I'm going to use my thumb. Anyone ever get fingerprinted? Ooh, this color together is gorgeous. So if anything ever happens to me and you need my thumbprint, one of you remember I did this in a journal somewhere, and you can go find out about my thumbprint and use it in case you need to find me and identify me by my thumbprint. There you have it. Also, don't forget to go off the edges. I'm going to just build a page and see what happens. Boop. All right. Okay, so first stamping experience with my deck worked. I just didn't use a stamp. I used an actual body part. Interesting. I knew this was going to be one of those days where I'm like, I have no idea. I have no plan. Let's just see what happens. This entire deck is done in black and white. I didn't put any color into it. It is done in conjunction with Shemi Dixon. Some of you know Shemi. And we ran a Start with Mark challenge for a few years, and I wanted to make a deck out of it. So it's all in black and white. It said, use your thumb as a tool. Y'all, I took that very literally. All right, so the next one says bubbles, circles, and rounded shapes, layer, overlap, and repeat, bubbles. So I can actually do this with a stamp. Couple stamps. One here, because what are bubbles, y'all? Bubbles are circles. Circles. Where is this? Could be a bubble. And where is my other one? It's not like I have a ton of stamps. Why can't I? Oh, here it is. All right, so this set here has this mark, which could be bubblish. Don't forget, we don't have to be literal about art. The word bubble is supposed to be a bouncing off point. And I also have this stamp. Okay. So let's see. Let's move them to the side. So I also love the idea of this one, which is my rock mesh stamp set. This is the only stamp set. It only has 2 giant stamps, but they are absolutely delightful for backgrounds. Okay, so I might use all of them. Let's see. I kind of started a reddish theme, but bubbles are blue. So let's see what this does. Oops, forgot to putting it on a map. Putting it on a block thing. Oop, there it goes. So let's add some bubbles. So basically, it feels to me like I'm just working on a background. I think I can move this now. The very first Start with a Mark challenge I did had 21 prompts on it, and I did each prompt on a grid that I had designed, and then I actually did one whole art journal page with all 21 prompts, and it was not easy. I kind of got a little frustrated. It went through a very massively ugly phase about partway through. And, so bear that in mind, that this might just be a background, and then it gets so busy What other colors? I don't know, I'm feeling like green. It might get so busy that I put gesso across the whole thing because, you know, I don't like it anymore. And technically, if you look, I already have bubble wrap on the background. So I didn't really need to add a whole lot of bubbles, but whatever. All right, I'm going to put this bubble on a piece of paper. Let me see what I have just floating around next to me. Because maybe I'll make a collage piece with it. Like, I'm making a background, but maybe I need some layers. Nope, here. Bought the gigantic black archival, not because I wanted to. I'm not a fan of these giant. I like these or these lovely. I'm not a big fan of these giant archival ink pads, but that was all that was available. So go with what you got, right? All right, so I'm just going to, whatever it stamps, it stamps. Ooh, came out pretty good. Okay. And then by the way, I'm using the cover of another journal that I don't have anything designed on yet. Another bought journal, by the way. I'm using bought journals today because I have a lot of just pages that got started and didn't finish. So I wanted to finish them. So now I have this piece of collage paper. I don't know what it'll come with it, but I've made a collage paper. So that is also another thought. As you pull these pieces, could you just be making fodder for another project as opposed to designing a specific art journal page? Okay, there's no right or wrong to any of this. But so far, I have not been stumped. I was worried about being stumped. So if you're playing along with me, what are you doing? If you don't have to own this deck. I know that Tammy is working on putting hers together right now. You don't have to own the deck. You can just play along with me because here I am. And you can, as I pull a prompt, what does it bring up for you? You don't have to actually be doing creative work right now. If you're just, maybe you're hanging, I don't know, after work, out in your car. I don't know. You're at a park. I hope you're at a park. But maybe you're just too tired to pull out your stuff. But maybe you can make some notes, like grab a piece of paper. And when I pull, thumbprint, write down what that first thing popped in your mind. When I pulled bubbles, was there something in your supplies that made you think right away? And then maybe start a little list of something you could work on over the weekend. Okay, that would be awesome. Lynn said, I've been loving your stamps and I've appreciated your videos, ideas on how to use them. Oh, you're welcome, Lynn. Thank you. And I'm actually just enjoying watching you. Thanks, Zoe. All right, imprint. Okay. Now, thumbprint would have been also an imprint. Look at that. Marks by pressing, lifting, or transferring. Let tools leave their trace. Now, y'all, that is pretty much the definition of a stamp. So I have left myself open to interpretation for any stamp that I own. Isn't that delightful? So let's see. Actually, I think I'm going to go with the other version of the rock mesh. These two were designed from hot glue gun stamps that I made that I really liked. And I really liked the designs. So that's why I made them, because I love them as backgrounds. So I know that, we can make lots of different things to be backgrounds, but sometimes the stamp can really make it fast and down and dirty. Let's see how well I did inking this sucker. That is also a fun thing about big stamps. The bigger the stamp, sometimes the harder it is to ink it. but that's okay. Thanks, Janice. I'm doing all the circles with a secret garden stamp. Ooh, that sounds like me. Sounds like fun, Gail. All right, so I'm just gonna, sometimes you gotta bring the paper to the stamp, right? So it happens when you work in a book. I also am a huge fan of using up whatever ink is on it as part of my background. I call it ghost stamping. I don't know if that's an official term, but there's my imprint. Love it. Okay, before I move on and do another one, my color pencils are calling me. I know that that surprises none of you, but this always makes me want to color them in. If you saw my video on making the thought catcher deck, tag deck, I kept calling it a deck, but it was like a journaling tag thing. I stamped the background with this specific design, this mesh stamp, and then I used colored pencils to just bring some depth to all of the sections. So it's just another way of playing. I mean, even some of the ghosty ones here, just keep it lighter with the colored pencils. I use my colored pencils on the side more than I do like as a pencil, because I'm always looking to use them as a shading tool. I don't really have a reason why I'm picking these colors, probably because they're, one, my favorite, and two, I've used some of them already, so it's just drawing me to pick up that color and add a little more. All right. Okay, there it is. Nothing fancy. Let's see. Drift. Ooh, I have a thought. Okay. Make marks that fade or dissolve. Let movement trail off naturally. All right. This is actually another, like the same idea of the ghost printing. This would be, when I think about this, I think this would how I would think drift. All right. So let me grab a stamp. Because now I actually have I think I'll use a word. It works really good. You might have seen me do this. I did this on the opening video for the stamps, where I made the book like the coloring book with all the stamps in it. All right, so what if? I picked what if. I'm going to use black. So this is what I would say would be a drift. So we stamp it, okay? And then we just keep stamping it. This needs to be darker, I think. Let's do it up here again. There, that worked better. So that would be my definition of drift. Okay. Love it. Now I feel like this one is not drifty enough. Okay. So how would you interpret the word drift? So think of it in terms of collage, watercolor, if you were using watercolor or you were using collage, how would you make mark that faded or dissolved, a movement that trails off naturally. Okay. So these are really, designed to start with a mark, literally. That's it. But also to get you thinking. What would you do? What would you do? Okay, I'm going to pick another one, and then I might have to just start playing on this page to finish it. I feel like just too many marks are going to get it's getting busy. All right, use my non-dominant hand. So to embrace awkward, loose, and unexpected marks. So I am not going to actually use a stamp for this. I'm going to use a crayon. So this is a Neo 2 color crayon and indigo blue. So Rosemary said splatter, spray with water and let it drip. Ooh, that is a good drift. Ooh, nice one, Rosemary. Love it. Okay, so wow, this feels really awkward. I obviously don't use my left hand very much, but I wanted to circle the what ifs here a few times. Wow, that is really crazy. I do it 3 times. And then I'm going to pick up a brush. These crayons, if you're unfamiliar, and this indigo, by the way, is very purple. That is not indigo to me. But anyway, it is what it is. These are water soluble, in case you did not know, or Neo 2 color crayons are unfamiliar to you. So you can spread that out. I'm pretty sure once they're dry, they're permanent. But honestly, I don't have that information. And I don't mind that the lines stay, okay? The other way that you can, my paintbrush is falling apart because I left it in the water. The other way you can use these is to bring your paintbrush to the crayon. And use it as a mark making tool that way as well. Okay. There, I drifted some dots across the page. So they didn't drip, they just drifted. Boop, 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 boop. On a diagonal. There's another version of our drift. Okay, so this is wet. I cannot use it. I'm going to instead of sitting here and drawing it with y'all, I'm going to pull up another page and we'll let this dry. Now this could be done. For me, it's still not done. How I know that is that 1, it just feels unfinished. And 2, when I look at things are still like, ooh, something could go there. Oh, something could go there. It's not quiet. Okay. So that's how I personally know something is not done. It's not quiet. Right? So I have 2 pages. I have this page, which has some actual dimensional things on it. And then I have this page. I might actually use this. Let's use this because I think we can all look at calm, joy, and love and just feel that. Okay. In case you needed to feel that today. Let's start with that. Be calm, deep breath, find joy. Deep inside, breathe out love. Triangle. I have a stamp for that. I love that I have stamps for some of this stuff. I'm going to end up losing this little stamp. It is determined to not stay on this sheet, just FYI. All right, so look at that. A triangle. This is an oversized design from when I did henna, that we used to do versions of these on people's hands. So I just made it bigger than it would be on your arm or your hand. I was very inspired. I'm very inspired by henna in my doodle work, and when I was designing the stamps, I went through a lot of my henna designs from when I did that at fairs. If you're unfamiliar with henna, I would encourage you to go down that rabbit hole, because the designs are really inspirational. Also, getting henna is also very delightful. Oh, look, I can use this page as a pop-off page. So I also wanted to, now that I'm here, you can see that the stamp I used, this was the original hand-carved version of the stamp that many of you now own, which is lovely. Yes, that's actually true. Tammy said you could also stamp something 3 times to form a triangle. Yes. Henna, Henna. Yes, that's how you pronounce. That's how you spell it, Janice. It is. Most of you might be very familiar with it as an Indian tradition from India, where it's like a paste that you put on the skin. Some of you, depending on how old you are, might have hennaed your hair back in the day. But it's a paste that you put, henna comes from a plant, and you put it on your skin, and it sits on your skin for about 4 hours. And when you take it off, it stains your skin. And depending on where it is on your body, sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's really as dark as almost eggplant. It also depends on the henna and where you get it from. So you might be familiar with it for Indian weddings, where the brides are covered up their hands and their feet with it. It's actually beautiful. Yeah. Very beautiful. I did not do bridal henna. I do not feel anywhere close to being qualified for that. I did what me and my friend called fair henna, where it was, fun, cute designs, as opposed to the intricate designs that bridal henna does. So, but if you need a rabbit hole, go for it. All right, drag a feather. Well, I do not have a feather stamp, but I'm hoping that in the next set collection, I will have feather stamps, since they were requested. But if I look at my stamps, do I have something that is feather-ish? Okay, so there's a couple things that pop into my head. One is this one here. So again, this is a way for you to think outside your box. Okay, if you were like, I pulled a prompt that said drag a feather. I don't have a feather, anywhere. What is a feather? A feather, could I pull a piece of ribbon and fray off the ends? Because if I drag the piece of frayed ribbon through some paint, it might represent what a feather mark would make. Okay, so any of those things you can think about, but this, I don't know if it's feather-ish, but it feels feather-ish. And this caught my eye, and I'm like, could I combine the two? To make a feather? Probably not, but I don't know. It doesn't really look like a feather. But I don't know. Let's try it, shall we? I was very clear, y'all. Today is one gigantic experiment. This is how we figure out what things do and look like. It's very light. All right. So there's that. And then my next thought is, what if I just drew a feather? So it says drag a feather. I'm dragging my pen. Does that qualify? I always get the points on a feather backwards. Oops. I need to glue that paper down a little bit. Let's do that before I tear it. So, am I dragging a feather if I'm being sketchy with a pen? I don't know. Is that taking it outside the box a little too much? So here you have it. I have 3 feathers floating across my page. Yay me. My piece of collage is talking to me, so I'm not going to ignore it. I'm also going to pull, I'm looking for inspiration for color. So I'm looking over here to see what else is inspiring me. As far as colors, I see a little bit of purple. So if you're always looking for color inspiration and you're only working on a single spread, I already have a page here. I'm going to pull that as my color because then the pages don't have to match, but they have maybe share a color story. Okay. All right. So that might be kind of fun. I also love putting this to combine this stamp and this stamp together. I think I have a darker green somewhere. Maybe? Oh, duh, right in front of me. Hello. Pull it to the side. It's like rocks on rocks on rocks. And you can also just use like one of these circles at a time. So you're not, it doesn't have to be all 3. Just ink one at a time and put it where you want it to go. Have a little more control over the stamp. Okay. Okay, so I have that. Feels like it needs something underneath it. Nope. Let's see what else I got here. No idea where this came from, but yay me. I think someone sent it in Happy Mail. Is it too much green? I don't know. maybe. Maybe I need a solid color. Anyone? Anyone? So this is me just playing again. Sorry, my voice might be gone. Kind of ran away a little bit. Maybe it needs to be more. Look how gorgeous this paper is. Has gold pieces in it. It's delightful. Orange. Oh, orange. That was a good idea, Kelly. I don't think I have anything orange close by. But I have this pink. Let's see if that will work. I don't know. Chip. Okay. And also, you know, this might not be the right piece for this. I don't even know anymore. I'm just playing. This is an experiment today like you wouldn't believe. All right, I'm gonna pull another prompt and see if I get inspired in a direction. Trace. Not inspiring, y'all. The word trace. Follow the edge or shape. Okay, I'm going to go with the first thing that popped in my head. Follow the outline. There you go. Had nothing to do with stamping. I also, you know, my idea of like pulling all the prompts and only using stamps, you could see like after a while, that's not going to work because the stamps are meant to be backgrounds or additions, but they can't, I cannot make it be the entire design. It just will, it will not work. So I'm having to think in addition to the stamps, what else would I do? Okay. But I like the fact that I gave it a border. Let's go with that. By the way, there's 72 of these. I don't think we'll use all of them. Trace your hand. Oh, I got to look up at the chat before I move on. Thank you, Kelly. That was a good idea. Broken. All right. I want to add thread to this. I'll be right back. All right. So I do love the hand, by the way. That was a good idea. Bye, Tammy. See you later, honey. I keep wanting to add thread to this as like a background. And so I am going to loosely interpret the broken, interrupted lines and gaps that imperfection and pauses show. So it doesn't have to be that I draw, lines. This is, if I look in my little thread thing here, this is all broken. If you want to get really technical here, it's broken threads. They're cut, but they're broken. And so again, this is me thinking, I'm forcing this prompt to do what I want it to do because, well, I would like to add threads. So there you have it. I'm going to go and do it. I'm also loving how all these match this. So let's see. Let's see if this works. I don't know. Might be a little too chaotic. Looks like a crazy nest. You know, I'm not even overthinking this. I'm just doing it. Y'all. Instead of a glue stick, I'm going to use my art glitter glue because I want it to pick up on the threads and be able to seep into the stuff that's below it, okay? That's my whole reasoning for picking up the art glitter glue. A glue stick just wouldn't do the same. This is kind of banana pants. All right. And then I use the word nest. And of course, my brain automatically said, you need a bird. And I'm wondering if this book has, I think it's botanicals, not birds. So that's like, listen to yourself when you're talking, you know, like you might not be talking out loud like I do. Because I do talk out loud, by the way, even when I work by myself. But listen to yourself and what is popping into your head, okay? I use the word, this looks like a nest. Okay, so my next thing is to find a bird. So I'm looking for a bird. I'm looking for an easy bird because the reason I'm looking for an easy bird is because I don't want to have to go digging. So I'm just like, what's sitting around me? This is a sticker book. I don't know if there's any birds in here. There is a lot of frogs, which I'm finding hilarious. Just trying to see if there's anything that says, glue me down. Stick me down. Nothing is screaming at me. If someone sees something, yell. Oh, you know what might be fun? It has nothing to do with a nest, but this is all book paper. And here's some books. So I'm gonna, I reserve the right to change my mind 300 times. Also, because just because I have this stamped doesn't mean that it has to stay. It's possible it's not the right design in the background. You know, I put it down, but is it the right design? Maybe not, okay? So remind yourself that you also have the ability to change your mind and cover stuff up. What I'm looking for is some, there, that might work. Some greenery. To add to this. So yeah, just, you know, reserve the right to change your mind and add something different. Go a different direction. Cover it up. Who knew that I would enjoy collaging with stickers so much? Let me tell you, I've been having some fun with that. And where do the ideas take you? Okay. A reading nest. Oh, Kelly, fabulous. Is a reading nest. I love it. So, the book paper made me think about this, and then, I just play with it and see what happens. I also have, like, really cute little butterflies, so maybe I'll add a few. Because I don't know that I wanna add anything else. I feel like this is adding to this part, calm, joy, love. I mean, a reading nest is my happy place, let me tell you something. Guess this one would work. I like that they're kind of blending in, these two butterflies. You can't see them, you have to go looking for them. There's a pair of reading glasses. Voila. Okay. All right, well, that took a dramatic turn. Okay. Now it feels like there's a little, this is my focal point, the rest becomes, background singers to it. And also I love that it color-wise, it ties with this. So as you were going through the journal, look, we did that in a class. As you're going through the journal, you just never know what you'll find, but these two pages feel connected, okay? I just flip through it really quick in case you're wondering what else is in here. This is me testing out something for a class. A lot of these are projects that I either do YouTube videos for or have taught. Many of you might know this one. Have taught in classes. I use these journals as teaching journals a lot. Okay. This was a playground, a play date 1, 2. All right, so then I have this one. I also have, what time is it? Oh, we're good. I can go back to this, and I might not go back to the, let me pull a prompt. Let's see. I don't know. You never know. Might spark a conversation. Zigzag. Sharp back and forth lines play with speed and direction. So zigzag. No, nothing is coming to me. What I'm doing is if you're wondering where I'm getting, I have a box of Happy Mail and stuff, little bits and pieces, sitting next to me. I want to make sure. I found these. Linda made me these gorgeous paper buttons. Oh, love them. I don't think, do they go? No. Not necessarily. But, you just never know what you're going to find as you zip through. Yes, that paper was from Carrie. Carrie sent me a bunch of green paper. But you don't know what you're going to find in your stash that might, I'm like, zigzag, and I don't know. That's a word. What I'm going to find, what I'm going to see that might spark the next idea, okay? I'm not seeing anything that's screaming zigzag right now. Anyone with the zigzag? Any thoughts on zigzags? I don't think this is the right color. I'm thinking of zigzag as really large, but I guess pinking shears technically create like a zigzag edge, chevron border. Yep, draw around the edge of your stamp pad. Draw around the edge of your stamp pad to make a zigzag. Carla, that is not computing in my head. So sorry. I'm like, draw around the edge of your stamp pad. Yeah, that's not computing in my head, honey. I'm sorry. Nothing. I'm sure there's sometimes when my brain's just not working. It's Friday at 4 o'clock. It's not working. But if I just think about it, I like that you said around the edge. And then Kelly said a chevron border. Zoe said she might use a needle and thread. Just the corner. Just the corner. Oh, you mean like take my edge of, I think this is what you mean. Like take the edge of this. I don't know if this is what you mean, but this is what just came. Oh, sorry. You all can't see what I'm doing. I just did that on the corner. I have no idea, Carla, if that's what you meant. But y'all, let me kind of move one book. That is interesting. So whether Carla meant that or not, that is what came out. And it's kind of making a giant pinking shear. I don't know if I'm going to use this word aligned here, but. So see, I have no idea if that's what you meant, my love, but let me tell you, I'm loving what I came up with from what you said. So let me finish. So 1, Kelly said chevron border. 2, Carla said use a stamp pad, and I wasn't quite getting it. And then she said the corner, and this is what I got from those 2 conversations. I also probably got inspired by the fact that I had cut the green paper. Oh, it's upside down. I love that as a border. I cut the green paper with my pinking shears. Okay. Yeah, it does. Oh, I love that. No, Janice, my pinking shears were absolutely fabric pinking shears. They will no longer work on fabric because I've destroyed them using this. But yes, my mom had a pair she wasn't using that were not working on fabric anymore. Like they had gotten weird. So I stole them for paper. Okay. But no, these are fabric pinking shears. Okay. So there's this. This is still speaking to me, this green, because now that I have the green, I know I cover up my drift, but guess what? It emphasizes those 2. Going with it. I've now also introduced that green color in the border. And as much as I could just leave it, I would like to introduce it in the middle as well. And because I love things in 3s, I'm going to add a quote. Okay, so what if, and then the quote says, trust the timing of your life. Okay. Something hard for us to do. Patience. It's a hard thing, ain't it? To know that you just need to wait and know and trust. Okay. Oh, there it is. So I still have this green piece. And I can decide where that's going to go. So I want to glue this little quote but I want it to, need it to be a little bit skinnier. I know watching me tear paper is probably riveting, but I like to tear paper as opposed to cutting sometimes. I like the messiness of the way it looks. All right, so do I want this? Where do I want it? And I have to audition it a bit. My first instinct is just jam it in the middle. So I'm going to go with that. Now, here's always my caveat for this, for those just as a, to remember. This paper is super thin. The paper I glued on is super thin. The paper I glued on here, the quote, is super thin. It's printing paper. So it will stay when the book closes, and it won't be so thick that it creates a problem when you close your journal. So y'all can do whatever you want. Just always remember that. But I like to point that out because I don't always think about that. And then I close the book and wonder why it keeps popping up. And it's because the paper's too darn thick. Okay. The only other thing I'm going to add, again, I do not try not to question. I just shouldn't say I don't question because I do question myself. Try not to question is whatever, when I look at it, the next thing that popped up to me is it's not weirdly white enough. I know. Yes, it is. But it has plenty of white space, which I don't always leave. But I feel like I want to add white splatters. So I'm using, for today, I'm using white acrylic paint. I'm thinning it down and I'm using a fan brush. Also trying not to get it on myself. I'm wearing a sweatshirt that I would prefer not to be covered in paint. But what it's doing for me is emphasizing these three by pushing everything else back ever so slightly. Okay. It's bringing, and this is, it might not be doing that for you. Don't forget you're seeing it on a screen versus in person. But that's what it's doing for me. Okay. It's softening the page in my eyes. And it's emphasizing those three things. I also feel like when I'm looking at this now, it feels done to me. All right. The border helped. The fact that I can see these three of the mesh, okay, stamp, the fact that I have this set of 3 words across the page, all of those things feel cohesive and bring it into focus and finished in my eyes. All right. So I wish I could pull I do not know why my camera did not back up, but well, that's for another day. At least y'all can see where everything is. This is going to take a hot minute to dry. But there's your inspirational quote for the weekend, y'all. What if you trust the timing of your life? Maybe that's what I will journal on tomorrow. I have my journal here. I do. Before we go, I wanted to share something. I just thought of it because I shared this on Instagram, so some of you might have seen it already. But Kelly, who is here with us today, and I are working on 100 days of journaling. We wanted to get better at journaling every day. And so we had inspired each other to journal every day. We actually check in with each other every day to make sure we did it. Sometimes we share the journal pages. Sometimes we just say, day 30, done, and that's good. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but this is just a lined journal. And this was started on day 26. So I worked on a different journal with that. But this maybe would inspire you to try some writing journaling with your art journaling. Okay. So I have a very simple kit. It is this journal. I have a black pen. Not this one isn't a Sharpie, but it's still a waterproof pen. I have a writing pen if I need it. I tend to use the black one or whatever ballpoint pen. I have a water brush, okay? And then I have some of you actually own this. This was in an Elements of Delight, but this is just watercolor paper that I put tubed watercolors on and let dry. I have a piece of paper towel in a zippy bag. That's it. That's all it is. Okay. And I'm going to pull out the bookmark because I don't want to, it's a little racy, so I don't want to offend. It's live YouTube. I don't know who's watching. So anyway, so I write, I draw letters. This was, I had a stencil sitting on my table when I was doing this one. So I just drew in through the stencil. This was some of, this Be Here. That was it. That was the entire journal page. My journaling for that day was Be Here and added the number of the day. Okay. This, for some of you might recognize it or not, but this was after the Super Bowl. This is Bad Bunny. So, I loved The Only Thing More Powerful Than Hate Is Love. I loved that he said that. So, my mother went to the ER that day. So, but she got better. So, like sometimes the prompt, I just wrote the number, I had these little things were sitting on my table. Someone had given them to me. I'll show it to you, not on live YouTube, Gwen, I promise. Just ask me at another thing and I'll show it to you. But this has something to do with Harry Potter. I have nothing to do with Harry Potter. Not that I'm not a fan. I just never got into it. But someone handed it to me because it's a dragonfly of sorts, and I stamped it on. Okay. I ate a cake. This was my day. It says it's Sunday and yoga to start, breathe. That was it. That was my whole journaling. Okay. So I wanted to point this out to you that it can be lots of writing. It could be that something pops into your head. I was listening to a podcast and these creatively sacred, sacredly creative came up. There was a reason for this, something to do with reactive. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was a way of rearranging the letters. This was part of a class I taught. There's my hand drawing. I didn't know, I let it go. Seemed appropriate. Just some doodling, like, I'm craving spring. So I just drew some flowers, my stamps, because, my stamps are here. And then this, I skipped 3 days because life got in the way. And I just pump, and I added a little doodle and what I was doing. This was obviously the day of the play date because I put the teacup. I just doodled a little something to remind me about the day. Stamp day, woo! I copied a tarot card that I had pulled, not a tarot, oracle card that I pulled. So I just drew what it was. Same thing, like just some lines. I read all day, so I found a little illustration online that I could copy. I made chocolate-covered strawberries. I had a tea, and it was sunny that day. I was very excited. We made it to day 50. We're very excited about that. This is the day I got the lease on my new car, and that's me passing out from sticker shock. If you can't draw a stick figure, I think you can draw this crazy thing. Again, just the number of the day, some stuff that showed up, daylight savings time. So this is just a way to show you that, a journal can be kind of fun. It doesn't have to be writing. It could be that you just draw something and just put some messages out there. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, learning a little bit more about dragonflies. You all know how much they mean to me. I went for a walk. And then this collage was sitting on my table. Not collage, this piece of paper. I think, Stephanie, this is from you, which is so stinking cute. It says slow and steady, simple and easy. And I put a little turtle because that's what it reminded me of. So and today was, I used stickers. So Kelly actually gave me the prompt for today. It says, where in my body do I feel most at home? And I had to think about that. And then 2 things came up. I'm going to share it with you because I feel like it's a question that we all can answer. One was I feel at home in my own mind. I think of my mind as a library card catalog that just fills up all the time. And when I need an idea, I go to my mind and I and pull out an idea. And I had found this magazine image of this a long time ago. It's on my bulletin board. So I took a photo of it. And then the other place I feel at home is in my gut with my yes and no's. Like I'm very comfortable with when you ask me a question. Many of you know this. I'm very quick to be like yes or no. If I say maybe, 100%, it's probably no. Okay. But I didn't have a picture of my gut. So I had this gorgeous jelly print that Sarah, my friend Sarah, did of me. And I took a photo of it and I'm at home in myself. So these are my answers to my journal prompts for today. So yeah. So I wanted to share that as for you to maybe think about adding some writing journaling to your day. It doesn't have it could just be that you just glue something down that you picked up that it's been really a fun practice that I'm enjoying doing, and also sharing it with Kelly has been a joy. So maybe find a friend and share that practice together. Okay. And so thank you all. I think that we're done for today. And I'll go, I'm sorry, but I still have not figured out putting my face on camera. I'll continue to work on that. But I wanted to see how I end all my YouTubes, which is over the next 3 days, give yourself 15 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes maybe today to maybe write a little journaling. Why don't you journal on the where do I feel most at home in my body, or find a magazine image that maybe speaks to that. Okay. Two, like 5 minutes today, 5 minutes Saturday, 5 minutes Sunday. You can do anything for 5 minutes. We spent an hour here today, even if you just grabbed a piece of collage paper, a rubber stamp, and just spent 5 minutes just slamming it all over a page. It is doing something. It doesn't have to look great. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, hello, y'all. If we thought about it, this is, it's a little hot mess, but I love the hot mess. I'm in love with my hot mess. To others, this is busy, it's crazy, but I spent time with you, which is delightful. By the way, I just want you to know that I keep coming back here because at the end of it, I always feel amazing. Okay. Thank you, Zoe. Zoe, just so that you know, Zoe just sent like $5 through the little thing that is at the bottom of the chat. I don't know if many of you know that. It's kind of like a tip jar for YouTube at the bottom of the chat. Thank you, Zoe. That's very lovely. But I enjoy it. So find something that you enjoy, just a couple stamps, just a couple swishes of watercolor, take your thumbprint and just, that's how we started this. And, maybe not if you're going somewhere, because now that's going to take a little while to come off, but, see what you can do and just give yourself 15 minutes over the next few days, and then start next week again and see what you can do creatively. All right. One more thing before I go, my membership is opening on March 23rd. If you are on my newsletter, you will get links in order to get a sneak peek inside the membership. I'm opening a chunk of the membership up that you can play with for a week so that you get a feeling for how it is inside that. I would love to have you be a part of that, but you will need to be on my mailing list, which is below, in order to get those links. Okay. So I invite you to do that. All right, friends. Thank you all for being here with me today. Go out and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in all the places. Thanks.